be so hard trying to figure out what do I want for lunch, knowing deep down I just want a vape. I just want my vape for lunch, and I don't have it on me because I'm trying to be healthy.
24-year-old dude, and my lung collapsed on me last Saturday. I have been vaping for over a decade, and it finally caught up on me.
Gen Z's vaping addiction has gotten worse. In the past 10 years, these small flavored devices have exploded in popularity, and they are everywhere. I'm sure we've all seen somebody using them in public or at a party, and for those who vape, it's not just an occasional vice. No, they literally cannot live without it.
For nothing, I'm tired of these fucking vapes. Like, it's getting old. I'm tired of smoking batteries. And every time I lose that motherfucker, I just be like, where the fuck's my vape? Sister, calm down. It's giving fiend behavior. Anybody have any tips for quitting vaping or something? 'Cause like,
hey, if you want to stop smoking batteries, perhaps you could put them in your smoke alarm instead. Just a thought. But she's not kidding when she says it's fiend behavior. Those who vape, when they lose their device, they go absolutely feral. And I've seen it firsthand. These people will get irritated and trash their room just to find their device.
What are you doing back here?
Can't find my f***ing vape!
It's super sad. It's like they're enslaved to this small little plastic device full of poison. And it's not just the addiction part that's dangerous. We've been seeing doctors and patients alike coming out and exposing the destructive consequences they have on your body.
Why is vaping worse for you than cigarettes? Vape temperatures can be significantly hotter than cigarette smoke, so vape literally could be barbecuing your lungs, which can explain why more younger people who vape need lung transplants versus younger people who smoke cigarettes. Lung damage can happen with any kind of vape.
Yes, in case you missed that text, 50% of lung transplant patients need repeat transplants after only 5 years. More vapors need these transplants than normal smokers do. And mind you, this vaping thing has only been around for like a decade. It took us 40 years to truly understand how bad cigarettes were for your health. Can you imagine the horrors that could be uncovered in the future as we study this stuff more? That alone should deter you from doing this. It's a scary thought, truly. And if you think that this is just fear-mongering propaganda, this week a video went viral on TikTok of a young man who had a life-threatening injury take place as a result of his vaping habit. Let's hear his story.
I am a relatively healthy, young, 24-year-old dude, and my lung collapsed on me last Saturday. I have been vaping and smoking for over a decade, and it finally caught up on me, and I have learned my lesson. Let's do a flashback to last Saturday. I work my 8-hour shift, and my girlfriend comes to pick me up from work. I work at the mall, so we decided to go eat at the food court before we went out later that night. Before we go to the food court, we go to the car so I can hit my pen and hit my vape. I'm hitting my vape, and it causes me to cough, which is completely fucking normal, right? But then I immediately start feeling a horrible searing pain in the back of both of my shoulder blades. So I thought maybe I just coughed really hard and pulled something. That's happened before. So in my back is tensing up on me. They're seizing up. I feel it wrapping around the front of my ribs to under my chest, and it gets pretty scary, and I find a little cushioned area for sitting, and I proceeded to pass out, full body pass out, for like 20 seconds. I eventually came to, the sweatiest I've ever been, the palest I've ever been, even paler than I am now. I barely make it back to the car. I'm like borderline yelling in pain, and at this point I thought like, what, did I slip a disc or something? Like, what the fuck is happening? We eventually call an ambulance. They get there in about 40 minutes, and it takes me maybe another 30 minutes to get to the hospital, and then another 45 to an hour before I actually got a room. I was just burning in a hallway.
God damn, it took this man 2 hours after his lung collapse to get into a hospital room and start receiving care. This could have easily ended so much worse.
I eventually get a x-ray, and I'm told that my left lung has collapsed. It is deflated, and I also have air trapped between my lung and my chest plate. So all of that is obviously not good. They take a scalpel and they cut between my ribs, they cut the skin and the muscle, and then they feed a tube through the hole to wrap around my lung to suck the air out of my chest cavity and to also reinflate my lung. Not only that, but I have gotten countless IVs put into me. Every 30 minutes, every night, I'm being checked up on my oxygen, my temperature, my heart rate. Really fun stuff. What really made me want to make this video is the team of nurses and doctors who've been helping me told me that in the past 6 months, I am like the 3rd or 4th person that this has happened to, around the same age, relatively young, but vaping. Not only that, but somebody came back because their lung collapsed again because they didn't quit vaping.
So yeah, absolutely insane story, very scary, especially the fact that someone had their lung collapse, yet still decided to keep vaping after the fact, consciously risking death for a little fuzzy feeling in their brain. I mean, that just goes to show how powerful the addiction can be to somebody with an undisciplined mind. This man who told the story is 24 years old, in shape, and otherwise healthy. If this lung collapse can happen to him, it can happen happen to anybody. Do not wait until you're in the ER, IVs hooked up, and you're pale as all hell for you to stop vaping. Quit that shit while you are ahead today. Because those who have a lung collapse are at a 20 to 50% higher risk of having another one in the future and may need to consult their doctor before doing activities like flying or insane exercise before you're even 30 years old. You're supposed to be at the peak of your powers, and now you're limited in such a permanent way. What makes these vape devices so dangerous is the fact that you can hit them so often. Like back in the day with cigarettes, it was a ritual. You had to take a smoke break, find a spot to use it. Whereas with these things, you could just keep ripping it discreetly every few minutes. And as time goes on, you're inhaling more and more forever chemicals and metals, and your lungs aren't able to filter out the poisons because you've destroyed the filtering mechanisms that are naturally there. Now, in case you need another terrifying story,
My life with a vaping-induced illness. Ever since I got pneumonitis from vaping, this is my life. I have to use a wheelchair when I go long distances because I get so winded, and taking those deep breaths really hurts my lungs. I have to wear this air filter mask because if I'm exposed to any strong chemical smells or even the smell of smoke or cigarettes, not the smoke, even the smell can agitate my lungs and cause my lung tissue to swell for weeks at a time. There is no cure for pneumonitis. I will have this for the rest of my life.
So yeah, this woman has a very bad case of pneumonitis to which there is no cure. It's a long-term inflammation of the lungs. Lighter lung inflammation is curable, but this shit is not curable. Like, her life is forever changed because of her addiction. And it's easy to look at this and say, well, that's the worst case scenario. This likely won't happen to me. But why take the risk? You have to live with your lungs forever. They are quintessential to your existence. Why destroy them for this thing that isn't even helping you? And don't give me the cope of, oh, well, it helps with my anxiety and depression. No, it doesn't. It gives you anxiety and depression because you form a dependency around the vape. So anytime you feel sad, you can't just deal with it normally. You have to go hit the vape to solve the problem. It's like saying, well, pornography helps me be less horny. It's like, well, maybe if you weren't gooning all the time, your mind would be in a less sexual spot. All of these excuses is just addict cope. I mean, look at the clip at the beginning of this video.
It'd be so hard trying to figure out what do I want for lunch, knowing deep down I just want to vape. I just want my vape for lunch. That's what I want, and I don't have it on me because I'm trying to be healthy, but that's all I want. I don't want no food. I want a vape for lunch. That's what I want.
Like, are we seriously going to say that her usage of it is helping her? No, look at what it's done to her. She can't live without it. These are peak withdrawal symptoms. And if you need proof that these excuses are harmful, here's a story of a young girl who is my age who thought vaping was harmless until the worst happened.
Teenage vaping addict who smoked the equivalent of 400 cigarettes a week burst a hole in her lung after she collapsed and turned blue while sleeping at a friend's house. 17-year-old Kyla Blight started vaping just 2 years before and would get through an entire 4,000 puff vape in a week. After she was rushed to hospital, medics found that a small air blister had developed on her lungs. It's thought excessive vaping had caused that to burst, leading to her lung collapsing. She was rushed to surgery and spent a further 2 weeks recovering in hospital. Kyla believed vaping to be harmless, but now says she'll never touch another one for the rest of her life.
Yeah, absolutely insane. That one vape a week is equivalent to like 300, 400 cigarettes. I wonder how many people who are doing this stuff every day in our generation are gonna have long-term problems after like a decade goes by. These numbers are gonna keep spiking upward. And it's crazy because this generation had anti-smoking ads shoved down our throat in school, and now we've replaced the addiction with something that could be worse. Y'all remember those ads with like the people with the holes in their throat because they were smoking? Crazy shit, right? Yeah, we may have to bring those ads back, like now, and make them a little scarier. And no, I'm not kidding. Like, this is about to be a crisis, dude. But yeah, I thought this topic was important. If you have this addiction, please kick it as soon as possible. If you haven't done this, good job, and do not pick it up. If you want to see more crazy addictions, click the video on screen right now. I promise you'll enjoy it, and I'll see you there. Goodbye.